Hi, my name is Jane. I am the founder and the owner of the Better Melon. I am an e-commerce strategist. And today I'm going to show you a case study of a project I worked with in the past, specifically Cosygaming. So I worked with the owner of Cosygaming, Isaiah. Isaiah's really interesting. He's actually, in his early 20s. He's a very young business owner. He's actually part of the military right now in the U.S. Marine, and he's stationed at the Middle East. So when we were doing our calls, he was calling me from the Middle East. It was really interesting. And he's running his online store while he is in the military. He's doing this all in his own time. And so his store sells gaming chairs and peripherals. And so Isaiah is also an avid gamer. So for him, this is a good way to combine his passion and interest into a business. He already has a Shopify store set up already, so I didn't help him set it up, but he needed some help with brand strategy. So a lot of times what happens is when merchants hire professionals to work on their website, they don't really think bigger picture. They don't really consider aspects on how to, grow as a brand, get sales, retain customers, how to increase return rate from customers, things like that. So I came in to help him understand that a little better. He was running a lot of ads and he was getting lots of traffic to his store, but there weren't a lot of people converting or making an actual purchase. And within his product category, it's quite a huge market, and it's also quite competitive as well. So with his challenge, the first question I like to ask is, why do customers buy from you in the first place? And this is a really important question to ask because in the customer's eyes, the market is so saturated. They have so much choice and so many options in terms of who they can buy from. They have so many options, right? So why would they buy it from, one place over the other? A good way to start is to look at customer data. So since he wasn't getting a lot of sales, we couldn't really tap into his existing customers. But what we could do is look at the market, do some market research. So what I did was because I have no domain knowledge within this sphere, I actually went on Reddit. So Reddit is great. There's lots of communities there. And I actually really wish more merchants did this. They actually go into the communities where their customers hang out and really listen to the things they're talking about, listen to the things that they're struggling with, listen to the questions they're asking, because they're going to learn so many insights from that. But what I did was I went in there, and what's interesting is a lot of people in this gaming chairs subreddit, they're very active about asking questions. They need help, they need recommendation, they need clarification, things like that. So there's lots of questions here, which is really good. It's really good to start by understanding customer pain points. So coming to this Reddit, it was really, really helpful to start there. So what I did was I took the most recent posts, so each post, and I analyzed it. I conducted a thematic analysis. This is a way to analyze qualitative data, so data you can't measure. So, text, interviews, things like that, that would be qualitative data. And I essentially organized that. So there's 20 of them, right? I looked at 20 posts and I organized them. So this is one post. So just imagine this is one Reddit post. And what I did was I copied the text that was in the post and I broke it down. So I looked at it and I coded it. So coding is a form of tagging. So what it means is, for example, this one, they talked about looking for a chair that they could sit long hours. So I tagged it with long hours. What I did then was I looked at all of these posts and I created meta themes or larger themes, right? So there's 10 posts here, which falls under the theme of trust. So the top 3 themes here, this is ranked. The top 3 themes are, we start from trust, chair requirements, and social. So social is interesting because gaming chairs are not actually they aren't known for being very durable or very comfortable. There's actually an interesting debate that goes on in the community is that gaming chairs versus office chairs. So office chairs would be Herman Miller, for example. They're very, top of the market, right? But that's just an example. And I find that what's interesting is a lot of people will probably buy gaming chairs because it's really good to show off. There's a social value to it. So let's say if we go through, see, this is a DX, I think this is a DX Racer. But what happens is people would post this photo photos like that. And with these gaming chairs, you can customize them in many ways, and there's many different designs. But when we look at her Miller chairs, you can't do that much customization, and you can't really make it look very fancy. So there's a lot of social value with these, especially among people who stream. When gamers who stream, when they sit on it, it looks really good. One of the biggest themes we discovered was trust. So trust is really important for users because they wanted to hear genuine reviews about certain products. And it's interesting because, for example, there's one here who was wondering if anyone has experience with this product. There doesn't seem to be any reviews for it apart from the website, which I wouldn't trust. So they don't trust the seller because they think the reviews could be fake. So this idea of trust is really important. So I told Isaiah, I said, you have to present yourself as someone who is trustworthy. To do that, I think you should talk about yourself as a gamer. You should talk about talk more about yourself. Focus on how you love playing games. You understand this community. You are just like them. You're not that much different. You're not this random person who just wants to sell chairs. You actually do care about this community. And so one of the things that he has done is he's talked a lot more about himself. So in the past, his about page was very short and it wasn't very informational. Now he's added a photo of himself, which I also recommend him to do. This is really important because as a small business owner, the key thing you have for bigger businesses is that relationship. A lot of times, biggest businesses don't have a face you can really relate to, but as a small business owner, you have that advantage. And so I really had him talk a little more about that and about himself. I think this is really important. So this is one of the main things that came out of that, which is helping him establish a relationship with his customers. So the second thing I had him do was actually look at his competitors. So one of them was Amazon. So Amazon, I think everyone should consider Amazon as a competitor, even though if they aren't really necessarily are one. But yeah, it's important to think about the answer to the question of why would someone buy your products over buying it on Amazon? Because you can buy gaming chairs on Amazon. So Amazon has a lot of credibility. There's reviews down there that reinforces your trust of the product. There's also shipping. So a lot of times they'll offer free shipping. It's also more, if you have Amazon Prime membership, you're more likely to purchase from Amazon as well, right? So why would someone purchase your product over them? So I had him actually study some of his competitors, and it was interesting because when he did this exercise, he learned so much. Like all of a sudden, he was thinking like more business minded. The things he was telling me were things that I was really trying to teach him and trying to educate him about, but he just suddenly learned all of this by doing this exercise, which is looking at competitors, looking at their about page, looking at how they're structuring themselves. So if you look at Amazon, one of the things he pointed out to me that he learned was Amazon's very ambitious. If you're just a regular consumer thinking about Amazon, there's a lot of things you don't see that's hidden behind the curtains, right? But for Amazon, what they do is they're customer obsessed, and they are very customer centric, which is super important to think about. And their key objectives is to sell you a product at a lowest price with the fastest shipping with the, I think, utmost convenience, right? So if you have those three things, it's very, very hard to resist an offer, to resist buying on Amazon. And this actually was really helpful in inspiring Isaiah in terms of thinking bigger picture. One of the things I like to push my clients to think about is go beyond product. Because if you're just selling product, you will lose to big box stores because they sell products at a cheaper price with more convenience. You have to offer something beyond product. So that's interesting realization he also made, right? He looked at this store. So he looked at this store, Chairs for Gaming. This is pretty much his, the most direct competitor he has. It's exactly the same thing as he's doing, which is selling gaming chairs and peripherals. And he said, when I was looking through this website, it just felt like a store selling chairs. It didn't feel like anything more than that, right? If you look at Amazon, they're thinking bigger term, bigger picture, longer, thinking more than just a product. And he said, when I looked at this website, it was teaching me on what not to do, which was very, for me, it was a transformational moment to see him understand that. He also looked at Herman Miller. Herman Miller is also very aspirational, right? Because this is their about page. The first thing that they write about is problem-solving designs that inspire the best in people. So they also have a heavy emphasis on health and community. So they're much more than just selling a product. They're more about creating this, trying to achieve something bigger than themselves. And when you do that, what happens is you tend to be able to do more for your customers. Because if you're just selling a product, your goal is to make sales, right? But if you want to do more than that and think bigger picture, you tend to mean more. You tend to become a brand that actually matters. You're meaningful. And so when we did, all this analysis, he looked at all of them. I would ask him, what are some things you think you're stronger in each of them? And the thing that was consistent across the board was customer service. He said, my biggest weapon against Amazon is customer service. And I would add to that customer relationship. Because say, for instance, if you go to buy a product on Amazon, do you remember who sold it to you? You probably don't remember the seller's name. You would say, I got this off of Amazon, not off of whoever the seller was, right? Because seller names are listed on the product page, but you might not remember. You don't really care. You just know you just got it off of Amazon. And so you don't really have that intimate relationship with the seller. And what happens is it's harder for them to get you to come back. So you don't build that relationship. You don't build that customer retention. So say, for instance, in Korean, if you go to Korean restaurants, what typically happens is they provide something called service, which is they might give you something a little extra for free, like that's on the house. And that's to entice customers to return and come back. It's a business tactic, right? And it's very commonly done. So usually done by, mom and pop shops, right? Not done for, I would assume that's done by larger corporations, but for mom and pop shops, they're more likely to do that. And they sort of build this relationship with you. And so as a small business owner, that's something you have to double down on, which is creating a customer relationship and providing excellent customer service. Another thing that we talked about was building community. So one of the things he mentioned was, so we developed a vision statement and a mission statement, and also looking at his core values. So the structure of a brand, technically when you think of brand, or some people call it brand heart, the foundation starts with core values. So these are beliefs you have that are non-negotiable. You do not change them for any reason. They stay put. They usually stay put for a long time. What you build on top of that is brand purpose. So why does your brand exist, right? And then your brand mission is essentially how you're going to carry on out that purpose. And then the vision, the final piece, is what is the future you envision. So with him, his key vision, which is to create an online community that's supportive of gamers and helping them get better, improve their skills. So I think this is a very important aspect, building community, because a community is very hard to build, but it's also very hard to steal. So if he and Cheers for Gaming decide to sell the exact same products, they do the same shipping, very similar customer service, then the one way to differentiate is through community. So community takes time to build, but is very important to have. And so this is what I was able to help him figure out and build and help him focus his brand on. And for him, it was also helping him think more business, be more business minded, and also customer centric. Another thing that I think was really important is he started presenting himself more as a peer. So for gamers by gamers, right? So he's no longer just, here's a product we're selling. This is what we're offering. It's more like one of the things that make us stand out is we're also gamers. So this is really important messaging for him to incorporate as well. Okay, I hope that was insightful. I hope you learned a lot. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.